So, how exactly do we get out of hustle culture? How can we focus on living a life that is actually by our design, meeting the things we want to do, and not putting it off until tomorrow, but just start to live it today? Now, Wendy, you really shared a lot about your experience, the importance of the pause, and what you found for your own circumstance and the people that you're serving. There's a common trend of people being caught up in this, the hamster wheel, whether they're entrepreneurs and high performers or not. Everyone's on some kind of a hamster wheel. The degree and the size of their wheel may be relative to what's happening in their life and how much pressure they're putting on themselves. So you discussed being able to be more focused and intentional about living a life that you want. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think that it's interesting. Well, a couple of things come up for me about this. I think it's very interesting because I think a lot of people want to live a different life than the one that they're actually living.
Mm.
And sometimes I wonder if the life that people project on social media is the one that they want not only other people to believe that they're living, but it's almost like they're trying to convince themselves that that is the
Mm.
reality of their life when it's actually not like that. And I'm totally guilty of that from when I was still married to my first husband. And, what I call it is like we live this, like at the time I called it a Facebook facade. And now I would really make it much more generic around it just being so it's a social media facade, right? Like, whenever, it's funny, whenever I see like happy families smiling and like everyone is like looking at the camera and like it's like the perfect family picture. And every time I see those pictures, I literally look at them and I go, yeah, that's a show. That's not real. Like that's not what's going on. Now,
Mm.
prove me wrong. I'm open. But I got to tell you, that was me. That was me with my perfect family, wanting everyone to think that everything looked that way. When inside, I was slowly dying. I was miserable in my career. I made a great living, as did my now ex husband. We had two beautiful boys, right? We were the picture perfect family on Facebook. But inside was a totally different picture. And I think that, or not I think, like what I've noticed in myself, in the thousands of women that I've had the privilege of coaching and working with, is that we've all been living into a version of ourselves that either our family expected us to be, which was very much my situation,
Mm.
and I'll go into that in a second because I think that part of my story is also hugely relatable. But I think that what we also do is we think, well, everyone's used to us showing up this way. And if I change, oh my God, what is going to be the impact and who's going to lose out? And so it's like, oh, so you're putting other people ahead of you. So other people should be happy, but you're not going to be
Mm.
happy, right? And, it's that metaphor of like you put your oxygen mask on first. Like there's a reason when you're on an airplane with a child that you have to put your oxygen mask on first, because if you don't, you are worthless to your child. And if my divorce taught me anything, I mean, it taught me a lot. But the biggest thing it also taught me was the importance of putting myself first. I never put myself first. Never. It was all about my kids. It was all about my husband. It was all about the family. It was all about my career. And guess who suffered and slowly died over the course of 2 decades? This person. I am first generation born here in the United States. My grandparents on both sides of my family are Holocaust survivors. They came to this country and it was all about the American dream. So here's Wendy coming into this world, and I was anything but the like ideal cute little girl that was supposed to sit and keep her mouth shut and smile and have the pretty hair and the cute little dress that she had on. My nickname was Monkey growing up. I was into everything. I was curious. I was outspoken. And for a lot of us, what ends up happening is that when we become a version of ourselves, and an adult, a parent, a teacher, a cousin shuts us down, all of a sudden, like our whole world just shrinks. And I remember being so afraid of being disowned,
Mm.
of not being loved, that I was like, okay, who do you want me to be? And I will be her. Like I got really, I got really scared that I was going to be disowned by my parents and my grandparents if I didn't, it's like,
Mm.
I think my dad always used to say, like, shape up or ship out was like the saying that he would always say. And I think that a lot of us we have those stories and those trauma responses where we think something negative is going to happen if we actually step out and really own and become who we are. And so to your point, and to kind of tie up this part of the question that you had asked me, I think that there comes a certain point in everyone's life where you've just had enough and you start realizing what sacrificing yourself has created. And when you really look at yourself in the mirror, what you start seeing is a version of yourself that not only do you not recognize, but that you're also not really overly proud of. And that was my experience. And it really took a lot of courage and trust for me to start, I don't want to say playing, but like really kind of like taking baby steps to start being like, no, I don't want that for lunch today.
Mm.
That doesn't sound good to me. Or my kids saying, I really want this for dinner. And me going, yeah, no, that's just not going to work. Before it would have been like, whatever you want. Okay. Right. Even when it sounded horrible or involved spending money or, whatever the situation is. But I think that what we lose is the ability to really tap into and listen to our voice inside, like our true voice, not the
Mm.
voice in our head that's been trained to stay on that hamster wheel, but the one that's really inside that's like it's been on a whisper. And so a lot of the work that I've honed in on and what I get to do is really helping my clients to turn down the hamster wheel noise, right? That Facebook facade, to turn that down and to turn up what you really want people to know and see about you.
Mm.
People are coming to social media. Yeah, they want to check in and see what's going on, but like stop posting fake stuff that doesn't, that's just not real. But it's hard because you're just like, you like the attention. Did someone like my post, right? It's like the FOMO and it's the external validation and gratification piece that is, I think, holding us, hostage. I call it the golden handcuffs.
Yeah, very much so. And it's interesting you talked about setting yourself first, taking a decision about the life that you want to lead. It kind of reminds me of a big move that my family and I did. We moved from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, to a beautiful place called Chilliwack near Vancouver, BC. And we moved because my wife and I had a real good conversation about what kind of life did we want? What lifestyle do we want to have? And do we want to wait 18 years for that lifestyle and then live it and then move away from our kids? Or do we want to start bringing our kids into a lifestyle that we want? And can we do it in this location? And we realized, we really weren't going to be able to have the life that we fundamentally wanted where we were. And so we had to go against some of the conventional wisdom of family and all that stuff to say, we're going to pick up everything and move, 14 hours away by, driving, and make that change. But the result of that was a drastically increased lifestyle and things that we get to do on a regular basis that we don't have to wait for now or create a whole bunch of hustle and bustle to try to figure out how to go and do out in some other way of our life. And so I really resonate with your message because that's a perfect example in my own life of having to prioritize what do we want, and then will what we want also be a benefit to the family that we're raising? How could it not be?
Well, and kudos to you and your wife. I mean, that's a really hard conversation to have and one that requires a lot of foresight. And again, like I don't think that there's a lot of people like you out there that are thinking that far ahead, right? You guys, it sounds to me, and again, like this is a lot of the work that I do with people, right? Is you had a vision, right? You and your wife shared a vision for yourselves, a vision for your family. And what I'm hearing you say is that you guys were able to really condense that timeline of it happening by making it happen now. And it took you guys moving your family. And so many of us don't plan that far out. They don't think that far ahead. They don't have a vision for what it is that they want. And this isn't, you can have a vision for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, whatever it is. But what's so beautiful about what you just shared, and that I hope people are hearing and I want to come on top of, is that it's that vision that we disconnect from, because I think it's from that, well, it's not happening, or there's these stories running of like, well, now's not the time, it's just not the right time. I just don't think that this is going to be best for the kids. Well, if that's your mindset, then of course it's not the right time, right? And what's beautiful is that you guys changed your mindset. And the second you decide, the universe rewards you. The universe just makes it happen for you. And I would bet that in your situation, the move was a lot easier because you guys had the vision. You probably had an idea of around where you wanted to live, and sort of, and I know with kids, school districts and all, I don't know if Canada's the same way as the US, but like, there's just, you guys had this vision, and there's something so powerful in that. And to me, that is how you make life happen for you, versus if you're living day to day, you're not conscious, you're not present, you're letting life run you. And at the end of the day, you guys, we don't know how much longer we have on this earth. I mean, if there's anything my mother taught me before she passed away, it was life is now. You don't know how much time you have left on this earth. My mother was healthy, and boom, all of a sudden, within 4 years, she's gone. Too young, right? I have friends who have husbands who are having heart attacks out of nowhere. Like, if there's anything, like, have a vision, have a dream that is possible, like, and dream bigger, because you can make anything happen. Like, I do believe in the power of co-creation once you set your mind to it, because then all the blocks go into place. Good for you guys.
Well, amazing. Excited to talk more about dreaming bigger when we come back after these messages.